Okay, so I'm gonna just say it. The level in which you may have liked this film probably relies heavy on three things: the level of which you love film, the level of which you love biographical film, and the level in which you love and appreciate Whitney. And for me, they're pretty high for all three. Hey! We are the sheep. We are the sheep of another fold, yeah. So my love for Whitney starts back when I was about 3 or 4 years old, okay? When she covered Dolly Parton's version of I Will Always Love You, which I didn't realize Dolly was the original recorder of that song till I was in high school or something. I was definitely old enough to pay bills. It was a long while. It was that song that made me, whew, it was a Cupid's arrow to the chest. I Will Always Love You. So for me, this particular movie was highly anticipated. Like, I was really excited for this movie. I'm a huge fan of Whitney. My entire family is a fan of Whitney Houston. I grew up listening to Whitney Houston my entire life. I will never forget that day. I was a wee little lad, about 3 or 4 years old. I was in the living room, probably doing something I had no business, and then all of a sudden I heard, "If I," to which I said, And I was in this trance as she sat there in that chair singing I Will Always Love You. I heard the most beautiful voice I think I'd ever heard. I didn't even know what music was. I just know that whatever she was doing was right. Whatever she was doing, it sounded really, 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 really good. And I liked it. And somehow I knew at that toddler age that I would remember that moment probably for a very long time. That's Whitney Houston. Because she's had so many other movies about her life, I was excited for this one, but there was a part of me that was kind of pessimistic, right? Because we've seen so many versions and so many stories of her life, and they've all kind of just been... And I will say, out of all those movies, this one has been my favorite, and I don't think I've seen all of them. So in this movie review, I'm gonna do it sandwich style, where I'm gonna say some things that I liked about the film, some critiques that I had, and then some more things that I liked about the film, just to kind of balance stuff out. So I really liked how they portrayed Clive Davis, played by Stanley Tucci. Clive Davis was her manager, the one who semi-discovered her and signed her to Arista Records. He also was her mentor. A lot of people kind of wondered where Clive stood into Whitney's life as far as not only musically but personally. How did he feel about Whitney's life, her drug use, her personal life, her marriage, all that stuff like that. We never really knew Clive's perspective, all that stuff. This movie kind of gave a light to what that relationship looked like. He basically was like, look, I don't get involved in my artist's life, their personal lives. Like, I can help you musically. I have an ear for music. That's it. Which is fair. He's just signing this young lady. He doesn't really have a personal relationship with her yet. So it's kind of easy to set these boundaries, and he kind of kept these boundaries over the years, which kind of speaks to why his involvement in her rehab didn't get shown until a little bit later. Into her career and life. I liked how they shed light on that. I also love the music. I love the actress who played Whitney, Naomi Ackie. She is a phenomenal singer. And whoever did the audio engineering of the blending between Naomi's voice and Whitney's live voice did an impeccable job, which to me was the most favorable part of the film, was the music. I loved how they did the blending, you know, of studio vocals, live performance vocals, a cappella moments, where you could hear a difference, but when it got time for Whitney's big moments, the blending of Whitney's real voice was there, live and present. And I appreciated that, as for many people. I love the fact that they included Robin Crawford in this film. I think Robin played a pivotal point, a pivotal character in this film. Robin's character finally made a pivotal point in one of these Whitney movies, and I think it's about time. Robin being her best friend for years / lover or ex-lover was something that was needed in the story, because I remember growing up and I would see these pictures of this woman who was there, and I was like, who? Harpo, who that woman? Like, I never really knew who she was, but I knew that she was in a lot of Whitney's pictures. She seemed like they were close. They didn't go as deep as I would like, which we'll get into in the critiques. But I love the fact that they even brought her in there. A good half of the film, the first half, she was a major character. Even in her later character resurgence in the movie, it was still very much appreciated that that aspect of Whitney's life and that particular relationship was also added into the whole mixture. Her character, played by Nafessa Williams, was, I think, probably my favorite character of the movie, just because I felt in a lot of ways her character gave the most emotion. Yeah. I liked how they accented Whitney's home life and her struggles as her mother Sissy being the breadwinner, the traveling singer. I liked how they shed a little bit of light on that whole situation to kind of begin to lay a foundation to what probably had already been added on since her childhood, because the movie takes place starting off in 1983. Whitney would have been 20 years old technically. And in showing her parents' struggles, it kind of laid foundation and pavement to, again, what would be possibly the many things that would end up plaguing her along in her life. I love the concerts. They did her performance from the Nelson Mandela tribute concert in South Africa, which if you have not seen that, please go check that out. Iconic. Of course, they had her Arista Live 25th anniversary, I believe, concert. They had her Star Spangled Banner, all these pivotal performances in her career. I wish they would have had one of my personal favorite performances, which was the American Heroes benefit concert, where she performed All the Man That I Need in that red dress. I wish they would have done that performance, but whatever. And I also overall liked the effort that they attempted to tackle the tips, okay, of Whitney's mountains, because she had several mountains. And although they didn't go as deep as I liked how they covered a lot of the tips of those monumental mountains of struggles in her life, more than I think any other movie has done. So with that being said, I'm moving right along to a few of my critiques. It was too short. It was too short. When you have somebody like Whitney Houston, that full of a career, that full of life, spanning, multiple decades, you gotta, this could have easily been a 3 to 4 part series. If they would have taken their time and kind of dug a little deeper, put things in chronological order, which was another thing, they didn't keep things in chronological order. They would kind of skip over decades and chunks of years and kind of mix match certain things in her life with different tours, her tours, Bobby tours. It was just kind of inconsistent. As somebody who follows her career, it kind of confused me a little bit. When you have movies like The Jackson 5, What's Love Got to Do with It, Ray, all those movies were able to do what needed to be done in the allotted time. Look at the Jackson 5 movie. The Jackson 5 movie was a whole 2 to 3 day long beautiful tapestry of intense storytelling, where you got the understanding of how and who the Jacksons were, how they came about, what their life was kind of like, and that probably still didn't cover everything. I feel like Whitney needed to have the same, because there was so much meatiness that could have been explored. Visually, it just wasn't Whitney for me either. I think Naomi Ackie is absolutely gorgeous. I think she's beautiful, but I didn't really see Whitney a lot of the times. I felt like I was watching an impersonator. And although she is, technically when I'm watching a biopic, I know it's good when I don't really feel like I'm watching a impersonator, aka What's Love Got to Do with It. Angela did what needed to be done. Lawrence Fishburne did what needed to be done. To this day, he gets monkey stumped in airports because of his portrayal of Ike Turner. I just didn't get that with Naomi Ackie. Visually, it wasn't Whitney. I didn't like how they kind of brushed over the relationship of Robin and Whitney and Whitney's bisexuality. Yes, they interweaved it into the storyline. I'm sorry, that's my neighbor's cat or somebody's cat. I don't know. Can y'all hear that? I don't like how they brush over Whitney's and Robin's relationship. I feel like that could have taken more time. Diving a little bit deeper, into her bisexuality and showing what that was like growing up in a Christian Black household in the 70s and 80s of New Jersey. Because right now we're searching for the humanity of Whitney. The music is there. We have the music. We know the music. We can see the music. They're doing a great job at portraying the music. But what a biopic is supposed to do is also kind of show their humanity, good and bad. that, showing the understanding of who they are as a person. And so I feel like that could have been an episode or 3 on its own. You know what I mean? The build. There wasn't any build. It was just kind of a hop, skipping, and jumping around. We knew that her mother was not fond of Robin. We knew that her mother didn't even really acknowledge her being bisexual or a lesbian or whatever. But what did that look like for Whitney in the first person world? Like, that's what a biopic is supposed to do, not a documentary, not reading a book. You have the material and the tools to kind of go deeper a little bit, you know, flex it out. Like, this is Whitney. This is Whitney Houston. This is Whitney the voice. Houston. What did that kind of look like for her to kind of play out and show to people who she loved and she trusted? Including Robin and not including Robin. What did those moments by herself growing up, what did that look like? I'm sure that added layers to the pressure of possessing such a gift delivered in a package that the world would and could potentially chew up and spit out. Related to her issues, related to the drugs, related to whatever the stress was that was Whitney Houston. There was also these switches in her personality during the movie that didn't really make sense. Like, she went from being this really shy, timid, slight firecracker, but really cutesy, innocent girl, to kind of this sharp-witted, sharp-tongued, angst person. But there was these moments in the film where they would show, as the movie went on, her personality switches and what happened to make those happen outside of the drugs. Like, okay, what else, what did that look like? You know, like, let's put life to the story that has been materialized for all these years. This was hopefully one of the last chance to show the humanization of one of the greatest voices ever to be, and the ball was kind of dropped. The pressures of being molded into America's Black princess. And yes, every word in that title matters. The struggle of being the financial backbone and ATM to her entire family. Pressure. The fact that her father sued her for $100 million on the way to his deathbed. Pressure. Trauma. Over a music contract, allegedly. Having your every move probed at and watched and judged and put on TV. Look, I've never been addicted to any drug other than nicotine, but I know people who have, close and far, near and dear, and I've seen a lot of aspects from their perspective. And no, I may not be able to walk in their shoes, but I can put myself emotionally and psychologically in the vicinity of how they think and empathize and understand, or attempt to understand. Now, I'm also very much so connected with her music, so I could have a bias. You know, again, I am a fan. Greatest love of all. Just a lonely talking tonight. All the man that I need. I will always love you. Shoop. I want to run to you. How will I know? Where do broken heart goes? Don't call me Susan. Some could say it comes with the territory of fame, right? And I would agree with you, but that territory is big enough for all that nonsense not to even take place or have space. Come on, somebody. Although, again, they touched on a lot of these, you know, subjects, the tip of the icebergs of them, but they could have, maybe they didn't have the budget. I don't know. Maybe I don't pocket watch. I don't worry about what's going on in somebody else's pocket. So I don't know. It could have been grander. I wanted more. The flack that she got from the Black community when she first came out from not being Black enough, for sounding too white with 3 H's, that could have been a whole couple episodes, or at least one. They highlighted that a little bit when they showed her getting booed at the Soul Train Awards. But she got booed not once, but twice. Even with all that being said, and all those things being dug up and shown to the world, you may still have some ignorance out there that would just chalk her life up to just being the drug that may or may not have been strategically placed in 70s and 80s Black communities allegedly by an administration head. Whitney Houston came in and she broke records. She broke boundaries. She came in and she shattered the foundation of the music world as being one of the first dark-skinned Black artists with a voice to have global success as she did. And that's something that we cannot just skip over. She opened doors for a lot of the singers that we have today. She has been the blueprint on how it should be done across genres. You hear what I'm saying? She could do opera, pop, gospel, soul, country. She could do it all. She could really sing. And that's all she wanted to do. And to be herself. That tracksuit Whitney to come out as opposed to the ball gown Whitney all the time. Everything that she gave us in her lifetime. All the music, the love, the auntie vibes that she gave us in her lifetime will always outshine the dark side of her story. I also liked how they handled her death. I liked how they handled the bathtub scene. That's all I'm going to say on that. And most of all, I liked how they ended with that performance of the medley of one of the most pinnacle performances of her life. 3 of the biggest songs to ever been written and composed. She combined them in one. And that was how they ended the movie, which I love. They literally ended it on a high note. They kind of no-card some of the details of her death and also kind of some pivotal and poignant little facts about her accolades in life. Overall, it was an okay movie. I left feeling good about it. I left feeling it was better than I anticipated, which is always good. You know, overall, it was just okay to me. It was nice. It was a nice movie. If you're somebody who really wasn't a huge fan, who didn't really know the in-depth, you will probably learn a lot in this movie, to be fair. And that's that on that. Whitney Elizabeth Houston, may you continue to rest in peace. May your music continue to guide and may your inspiration and your influence continue to seep in our culture. We thank God for your gift. And it will be here forever. We will always remember the gift. I hope you guys have a banging New Year's Eve. Y'all be safe out there. 2022 is over. I'm really excited for the channel. If you're new here or just finding me, please feel free to subscribe. I do a lot of, mindful content reviews, things of that nature, but I'm really excited to go into a shift in the new year. So happy New Year. Happy 2023 coming up. You guys have a great new year. Be safe out there. Have fun. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you guys for spending the year with me and for showing so much love to the channel. Until next time, family. I'm out.